Here comes trouble. What could you possibly do here on Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning? Oh no, not again. Did we just do it again?
Yeah, but this is one that's going to be a shocker.
This one is gonna be a shocker. Well, obviously we're picking up another car, but what car?
I don't think they're going to guess in a million years. We can give them a million guesses.
Okay, well, I'll give them a hint.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
It's an American car. I'm more into British cars, but this one is a special car, so I decided that I'm gonna get an American car.
And you know it's got to be older than you.
Yeah, well, this one qualifies for my grandfather to restore it. So here are Joanna and John, and they are generously giving this car, which we're gonna show a little bit later, to the cause of the Rusty Beauties.
Hello there.
Hi, thank you so much, guys, for your generosity. So Joanna and John own this beautiful Tier 4A, but that's not the car. It's another car. So what is the car? Can you tell us?
Well, it's a 1914 Speedster, which I acquired from two young gentlemen, one of whom was about to get married. Keith Bailey was his name. I have the original ownership and his name's still on the piece of official Ontario paper. And seeing that he and his partner in the car, John Elstrom, needed the money for Keith's wedding, they begged me, could you look after the car? And that's how I ended up with it. Now, the car is wonderful to drive in that it requires special skills. It requires some knowledge.
I see it's got 3 pedals, and I know that the
Yeah.
pedals are
And
like,
there's more to it.
Yeah.
If you want
I've
a
been
full
watching videos lately to see how to drive them. I think I get the idea.
But the best part was I picked it up in the beaches area of Toronto on a very early Saturday morning. Had about 5 minutes of instructions on how to drive it, and I made it home. But I was busy that day. I left the car in the driveway. Joanna had no idea that I had bought it. Across the street, there was a gathering of old folks, men, who saw the car.
Yeah.
And they all ran over and they started to swap stories. They're talking about old fogies. Do you remember when? Do you remember then? And I can tell you all sorts of stories that I got from them. I'll give you one. On a cold night, you'd drain the oil, put it in the kitchen to keep it flowing,
And then
pour
put
it
it
back in, and you notice that there are cock screws there.
Yeah.
So you do it by hand. If it fails to start, you jack up the rear end and you put it into gear
Yeah.
and use the wheels as a flywheel to help the engine get started.
Wow.
Another thing is, if you came to a hill and ran out of fuel because it's gravity feed, you
Yeah.
had to go up in reverse.
Backwards, yeah.
And this one, by the way, is a hot rod. It has an optional set of 12 springs.
Yeah, that's the thing that I saw on the picture, and I was looking at old cars in videos, and I haven't seen one of these. Like, somehow it has these upgraded springs.
So
Well.
in a panic, what you did was, if you really couldn't find a tree to slow down, what you did was you hit the brakes, both hand brake and the band brake around the turning
Flywheel or
apparatus,
whatever, yeah.
and put it into reverse,
Oh, yeah?
and hoping that it would stop.
Yeah.
And of course, then you had to replace the transmission bands.
Yeah, there are
That was
3
a
of
fun-
them.
Well, just a reminder, I've got a box spare ones in case you had a tree on the way home.
It's been here since 1974.
Okay, so you got it, and did you ever drive it after that? Did you take it to car shows?
Because, I lost my garage space.
Okay.
Mrs. Pierce's husband Ken died. Mrs. Pierce sold the house to the neighbors who are still there. Mrs. Harrington passed on the house, and so on. And I had Carl's driveway as well, but anyway, that ended my life with many cars.
Wow. And you hung it here in 1974,
1970.
so you can park your Tier 4A underneath.
You slide underneath, yes.
and that's how it's at.
And oh, by the way, and one year I noticed, my God, it's getting awfully close to the fender. Aha! Pump up the tires.
Oh, okay.
And you notice I had to stay on that one wheel, and I can't get in there to knock it out.
Yes.
I'll tell you another one. We used to drive around the neighborhood around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. It's too damn dangerous now. Every Tom, Dick, Harry, Gary, Barry, Larry, and Benjamin wants to know what is it, how fast will it go, etc., etc. So there you go.
How fast will it go?
With the Ruxton rear end, it actually had two ratio rear ends.
Yeah.
You could get it maybe around 60, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'll feel like 100.
Some of them obviously wooden wheels, some of them with wire wheels.
All right, well, let's take it down. And
Now, the first thing I think we should do is get the two wheels for the rear, and then get that cross beam off.
okay, she's coming down.
The NFL. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. That's what I like.
51 years, judging by my own age, this car has been hanging here on this rope. Okay. And the suspension is going down.
How about that?
Wow, look at that. Okay, she's halfway in the trailer, but just wanted to shoot a little bit from the other side. Wow, she's a beauty.
Wider than a Triumph.
It's apparently wider than a Triumph. I was looking at this side and I didn't realize I was too close to the other side.
All right, change
Wow.
my mind.
Let's hang it on for another.
Okay, let's get it started for you at least so you can take it for a drive. Apparently it has a starter, so it has a laser motor in it?
Yes.
Okay, because originally I was
The guy
reading...
who did the appraisal is, I can't remember his name now. He's also a Model T freak. And he told me everything about the car, but of course I didn't write anything down.
Yeah.
I'll give you his name if you want details.
Okay. In 1914 they didn't have the starter, so it is a later car.
In 1914, because of the First World War starting, part of the brass was converted to steel
Yeah, yeah,
because they needed the bullets for the war.
yeah. So that's when the brass era ended for the... They made everything black steel. And that's actually, I think it's one of the last with a color on it, because after 14 they became all black. That's when...
But these were all customized, supposedly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe it wasn't white, yeah, but that's when Ford said you can have it in any color as long as it's black. And until 1926, I think all of them were black.
And he collected the spillage and reused it.
Yep.
Nice.
So, shortcut.
Check out his video.
Well, I don't have a dollar, but I'll give you two. So if you have another...
Okay, well, next time you come around with a car, I'll give you $1 back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it
Thanks,
so much.
thanks for the
Thank you, Joanna.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the help, guys. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When Cam comes back from Portugal, that's her son. He'll say, "How did it go?" I guess you went to Portugal to avoid the hassles.
Have you ever seen the garage without the car in it? How old is it?
Yeah, look at it.
Well, he did see it before we bought it,
But that would be.
but that would have been, he wouldn't.
See, John can now get to his front of his garage.
When I picked up the... All right, so here's the old lady. Oh my God, it's unbelievable how big it is. I always imagined it much smaller than that. Apparently it's a big car. How is it gonna fit there?
Well, it's not real big, like body-wise. It's just the axles are.
Yeah, it's wide,
Yeah.
and we were sitting on an angle. Yeah, because
For better cornering.
has a little bit of a camber to it. Anyways, we're gonna unload it now.
We can just drive it out, right?
We can.
Hand
Let's
crank
see.
it out?
I'm curious to crank it to see if the engine is gonna turn over. Let's see.
Did you tell them how bad the fuel tank smells?
Oh my god, we have the fuel tank inside the car. Oh yeah. Turns no problem. We can actually... Oh!
Watch your head.
There's a trailer there. Okay, let's set you up on a tripod and we're gonna try to take her out.
Hey, is there a brake on that thing?
I don't know. I don't think this brake works.
Ready?
Yeah. 1 horsepower. Come on, faster. Okay. So here she is in the Rusty Beauty's garage. We put the seat more or less where it belongs, the gas tank. I don't know where the toolbox went. Yeah, there's a toolbox there with some tools. We're gonna show them later. Isn't she a beauty?
Yeah.
Old lady.
Talk about being out of our depth.
Look at that. So I didn't know much about these cars until really 2-3 days ago. I started watching videos, so I educated myself very little. There's probably lots of things to learn, but let me explain what I see here, what I know, and probably many of you are gonna add a lot to what I know. There's no water pump. It is all based on physics, the circulation here, because hot water rises, so through here it rises, goes into the radiator from the head, and the cool water gets pushed out and back into the engine. So that's the entire water circulation. There's no fuel pump either. It's gravity feed. So this is the carburetor, and it is again no fuel pump, gravity feed only. So the gas tank is higher than the carburetor, and that's how fuel gets delivered. And as John mentioned, sometimes uphill the gas tank ends up lower than the engine, and then you starve it for fuel. So in this case, what you do is you turn the car around and you back it up the hill, then your gas tank becomes higher. That's also a choke, so that is hooked up here, so when you're cranking it manually you can open and close the choke as well. What else do we see here? So we have throttle on this side. This is the throttle lever, operates your carburetor, and on the other side you have
Retard and advance
and retard. This is for your timing, which I'm not really sure how that works. We have coils here. These are interesting. I forgot what they're called, but they buzz. They make a noise when they turn on. So these are 4 coils for the 4 cylinders, and how the timing happens, that's something that I don't know. Somehow, yeah, this is the advance. So somehow from here, the coils know when to throw spark. But they have ground here? What is this, ground? Is it grounded to the engine there? I guess so.
bell housing.
Right, it's me from the future actually. And I'm gonna interrupt myself here because I'm wrong. This is not ground. This is actually going down to the magneto, which is basically the flywheel. That's where the power gets generated for the ignition. Don't get confused with the generator, which some cars don't have. This one has a generator, and it's right here, and this is the wire that goes and charges the battery. So anyway, this is the back of the coil box here, and we have power from the battery. So this is the yellow wire that comes here and connects to the positive battery terminal. And this is power from the magneto. So these are the two sources of power here, and we can switch between them with this switch here in the middle. I just have to figure out what position is magneto, what position is battery. So that's the power to the bottom of the coils, one or the other. It's never both at the same time. These here are the wires that come from the timer over there. Here at the end of the crank, there's a timer that sends ground to one of the 4 wires here, depending on the position of the crank. So these 4 wires come and connect to the top here, 1, 2, 3, 4, for each coil. So when one of the 4 coils has power from either the battery or the magneto, and on the other side it has ground from the timer, that's when the coil starts buzzing and sending pulses of high voltage to the spark plug and produces a continuous spark. It's not like on the modern cars you just have one spark. Here it produces a continuous spark for, as far as I can see, for about 45 degrees of rotation on the crankshaft. Then it cuts off, and then shortly after that the next coil gets ground and it starts buzzing and producing continuous spark, etc., etc. It has a starter motor. Normally 1914 didn't have a starter, it was only a hand crank, but John told me this is a later engine. Can we see the serial number here? That's actually the serial number that's in the ownership, 254,000. Apparently 15 million of these were made. So this is a very, very early one, even though this is a newer engine with a starter motor on it. But the original one wouldn't have a starter motor. So this is a 6-volt starter. We have battery terminals there, so we're gonna have to acquire a 6-volt battery, and then we're gonna be able to crank it. But that doesn't mean, if we don't have battery, doesn't mean that we can't crank it. We can start it, because here this is a switch which actually requires a key, and we don't have a key.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
It's some kind of a key that you turn. When you have a starter motor, what you do is you turn to battery position, you crank the car, you start it, and then you switch to magneto, and then the battery gets disconnected from the system, and only the magneto starts producing power enough for the coils and for the spark. It doesn't have anything else electrical. Later cars used to have electric lights. This one is the early one. It has acetylene lights, and that's what this tank here is for. Somehow, I don't know how you fill this with acetylene or with something else actually, and there's a chemical reaction that produces the acetylene for the lights. And I'm assuming from this, through this hose, which is not connected to anything, somehow gets delivered to the lights. Well, talking about the lights, right here is everything that John gave us. The brass pieces. So we have headlights. You can see inside somehow that makes the lights. But as I watched in one of the videos on YouTube, somebody was explaining that in the early 1900s, like 1914 obviously, you were not allowed to use your headlights in town. You can use them out of town, but once you get inside the town, you're not allowed to use them because you scare the horses. So that's why you have these coach lights that go on right there on the car. So they just glow for other people and cars and carriages and horses to see you, but you can't have headlights. So that's why you have headlights and coach lights.
How does this work?
This is, you should be able to spin it on.
No.
No, that you take out. That's this is for the gas tank, the cap. This is for the gas tank. This somehow ended up there by mistake. It doesn't go there.
There.
Okay.
Oh. And it fits there.
And it should fit there. That's your thermometer.
Yeah.
So we have 3 of these. Yeah, it's hot. And this, I'm assuming, is your tail light. Should be red, I think. Somehow, I don't know. And it has more than one horn because John acquired these over the years from somewhere else, but I think he told me, I think this is the original one from the car. It is ripped, so we're gonna have to fix that. And this is your compressor for compressed air, and this is the reed that actually makes the noise. Doesn't work this way. Anyway, lots of well, now we have 3 of these. Oh, the 4th one is on the car.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. That spent 50 years outside, and these 3 spent 50 years inside the house. So there's a little bit of a difference.
There you go.
Well, logo and all that. Oh my God, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So yeah, she is a beauty. Well, you might be laughing at me, but you know what's next, right?
Are we gonna start the engine?
I will try to.
That's gonna be a while.
I'd love to. I know it's not gonna be a turnkey thing, but I'd love to try and see if, like we already saw that it is spinning, the engine is turning over, which is good. And we're gonna see the fuel delivery and whether it makes spark.
So we want to make it look something like this.
Oh yeah.
Show them this picture.
Yeah, so John gave me this picture. It's not of this car, but it is a car that he's seen somewhere. What did he say? In some club. This was an example there. So it's a little bit different. You see the nose piece here this is flat here.
Doesn't have the windshield.
Doesn't have the windshield and doesn't have the fenders on the side. But that's pretty much what it should look like.
With the wood wheels versus the wires.
Yeah. But yeah, I drove it already, so I'm happy. It was 1 shift-dash power.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a closer look to the engine and see what it needs. Okay, so shift-dash is gone. Really thankful that he came to help me. But I'm pretty excited, so I can't just leave the car seat like that. I need to do something, and I think you know where I'm going with that. Let's see if we can start it and actually even drive it, because I don't see a reason why, if it starts, it can't drive. Before I even attempt to start the engine though, I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing here. So all the videos that I watched explain that this is the parking brake and also puts the car into neutral. When you release the parking brake, now this pedal, you push it in, that's your first gear, and when you let go of it, that's your second gear. This is your reverse and this is your brake. And this brake actually is internal. It tightens 3 bands inside, like a leather bands around the drive shaft, so that's how you stop. This e-brake here is connected with these 2 shafts, with these 2 rods, one here and one on the other side. So this one goes to the rear wheels and you have somewhat brakes there. But what I was confused about until now was how come if this pedal, when you press it, is first, when you let go of it is second, this means that in this position of the car now we are in second gear, aren't we? But what I didn't know and what nobody explained to us, that actually this pedal has 3 positions, not 2, and the one in the middle is neutral. Right now we are in the middle position. And how are we staying in the middle? It's because this lever here is pushing the pedal to neutral position right in the middle. When you let go of it, watch what happens here. Now the pedal goes into second gear. So now we are actually in second. That's why when you start driving actually, so that puts it in neutral because this lever here keeps it in neutral. But when you want to start driving, what you do is you put your foot here and you press to start going forward, and in the meantime you release the rear brake. And what happens is, if you start the car and you release this handle without stepping on this pedal, you're putting it directly in second gear, because the pedal comes back a little bit. You see how it came into second gear. So that's the main thing that I wasn't understanding before, and now it's clear. So if we are able to start the car, I should be able to drive it too. So having it in this position right now, we are in neutral, supposedly, if the adjustment on this boat is correct, but we're gonna figure that out. And the rear brakes are activated, and we should be able to start it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the spark plugs and check them, and of course we're gonna check the oil. How do we check the oil? Well, there are two petchocks down there. If you open the one at the bottom, you can see if there's oil, and I don't know why there's two, but you have to open the one on the top and just make sure that it is dripping from there. It's not leaking, it's not like in a stream, it's just dripping, so that tells you that you have enough oil. If you have to top it up, I have no idea where you top up the oil from. I don't know what this is. Why do you have this here? That's interesting. That's on the intake manifold. So that's the air intake here on the carburetor. You can see it is going around the exhaust manifold to get warm air, but it comes off, so you can kind of suck cold air or hot air. You see, so that's your throttle. No, that's your choke. And this is your choke, that's controlled only from the front, and it needs to have another wire here going inside here, so we can control the choke from inside as well. Okay, now I get it. And this is your throttle here on the steering shaft, on the steering wheel. Okay, but what is this? That's gonna be a problem, because we're gonna lose vacuum from here if it is open. Is this where you add oil? I don't know. Okay, so let's check the oil first. Okay, let's see the bottom one first. Huh. No oil. Wow. Huh. Looks like this way it's closed, this way it's open. There is something coming. Let me open the other one too. Maybe the petcock is plugged. Nothing on the top one. Few little drips on the bottom one. Well, you know what? I'm gonna leave them open and I'll come back. I'm gonna go do some research. Well, it looks like from sitting on an angle for 50 years, it just lost all the oil through a front seal, if there's something like that there. I don't know. So we're just gonna drain it all, whatever is left there, if there is anything, and we're just gonna put the new oil. Okay. Wow. So there is something. Oops. And that's everything. Well, we're gonna let it drip here for a while, but if it was below this level, then it was very, very little. Anyway, let it drip, and we're gonna refill it with, I think I'm gonna go get 1030. I did a little bit of research and it says 1030 or 530 is what's recommended. So we'll see, I'm gonna open this just for air. Yeah, that wasn't a lot of oil. Okay, I found the copper washer that is gonna fit, not great, but better than this fiber washer. And it looks like it is 15/16, but it barely fits there because some of the corners here have been damaged. So I'm just gonna file them very gently. Talking about keeping everything low cost. Well, imagine it was gonna be so much easier to grab it if it was a little bit deeper here. So you would think, what would have costed them to make it a little bit thicker? Well, imagine making 15 million of those. By saving 2 millimeters here, that's 30 million millimeters of material. You can imagine how much that is. Okay, that's better. There was one here that I filed as well, right here. Okay, so let's plug it, and I'm gonna have to go to the store and get oil. Okay, I was fooling around and I just put the headlights and the coach lights on to see what it looks like. Wow, isn't it beautiful? Anyway, we're gonna remove them at the end. We're gonna put them inside the house. We don't want them damaged in the garage, but I just wanted to see what they look like. Okay, so we have the oil plug installed with the copper washer now, and it is nice and tight. We left the petcocks open because I want to see when the oil is gonna start dripping from the one at the bottom first, and then we're gonna close it and we're gonna continue filling it until it starts dripping from the one at the top. That's the rule of thumb apparently. And the oil goes here, as I guessed. It is the same oil for the engine and transmission. It lubricates both at the same time. It takes about 4 liters according to forums, and the oil that we need to use according to forums is so controversial. Like, I mean, it's so many opinions out there that I got tired of reading, and I just went with the most common that people say, 1030, just regular motor oil. It is 100% better than what was available in 1914. Also, people say detergent, non-detergent, it is crazy. In 1914, it was non-detergent because the detergents were added to the oils in 1950, but apparently that doesn't make the oil unusable. It makes it better for the engine. So there's a common misconception apparently where people think that the detergents in the oil are going to loosen all the debris and deposits from around the engine, and that's going to destroy it. But many other people say that the detergents are actually good for the engine. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going with just 1030 conventional oil, and that's it. We're going to put 4 liters approximately, and we're going to see when it's going to start dripping. The interesting part is that there's no oil pump, right? So it's all splash. So the flywheel goes through the oil pan and just grabs oil. It has like fins on it and just grabs oil and splashes it all over the place, and that's how the engine gets lubricated. Now if I figure how this opens, it will be nice. Oh, it's just a pull apparently. Okay. So yeah, no oil pump, no water pump, no fuel pump. No pumps at all. Okay, let's wait for a little, see if it is gonna start dripping. At this point it should start dripping from the bottom. And it does. Okay, so now we close it. Let's see if it is gonna start dripping from the top one, which it still doesn't. We're gonna add a little bit more. And a little bit more. You don't want to overdo it, right? Okay, that's very close to 4 liters now. There you go. It starts dripping now. So that's exactly what we want. Obviously, that was very accurate. 4 liters. Good. We have new oil. Now, let's take the spark plugs out, see what the situation there is, maybe spray a little bit of WD-40 inside. We should have done that before we attempted the first spin of the engine, but that's fine. I'm gonna take these out so we don't damage them. Now, before we take them out, let's note the firing order. It's important for people like me. So let's not forget this part. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's hard to remember. 1 to 4, left to right. This is one of the first engines. It is not expected to be perfectly designed, but I'm always surprised by engines, modern car engines, where the spark hole is like a funnel for garbage, literally like come here and go inside. Let's have a party in the cylinder, you know? Okay, so I don't know how good this is. Are the other ones loose as well? Yeah. Wow, they're all loose. The pistons don't look too bad as far as I can see. No rust inside, so that's good. Anyway, I'm gonna spray WD-40. Okay, let's turn it over a few times. Good, no weird noises. Okay, whew. I'm just gonna put them back on. I don't think they need any cleaning. Like, they look in a good shape. And what's left is fuel and cooling, of course, but I think we're gonna deal with the fuel first, and we'll see if it is gonna fire, like at least if it's gonna show signs of starting, and if it starts, then we're gonna fuel the radiator. I don't want to fuel it for now. Let me take the float bowl out and check, because judging by the gas tank, pretty clean actually. I thought it was gonna be gummed up, but John probably ran it out of fuel before he shut it off. Okay, so I used one of my Triumph gaskets and I cut 2 gaskets for here because there were 2, and it's tricky because the diameter needs to be, the inner diameter needs to be as big as possible because there's a shoulder that this fits over, so we can't make the inner diameter smaller than what it is right now, but it fits now. I tested it. Also here I found a copper washer that kind of fits there in my kit, because these were the gaskets that were there on the petcock. But before we assemble that, I'd like to see if the float floats and if it opens and closes, you know what I mean? So I have the fuel line here that used to go to the fuel tank. Unfortunately, we can't use the fuel tank, it needs to be cleaned. So anyway, I'm gonna just put a hose here and I'm gonna blow into it, and we'll see if the float opens and closes. And then I guess we're gonna have to take it out and dip it into gasoline and see if it is gonna float. Okay, so I put a hose here. I don't know if you see it, but it's a short hose, but I'm able to blow through it, which is good. Sometimes fuel lines get clogged. This one hasn't been clogged. Good, and it is actually, the float is closing and opening, which is great. Oops. I don't know if it is floating, but it is rolling for sure. And this is the needle that opens and closes. We shouldn't lose that. I'll just put it here. And this is the pin. Oops, I did it again. My favorite thing. I think the camera is off and I'm turning it on, but actually the camera is on and I'm turning it off. And then I talk to myself for 5 minutes and I think that I filmed something, but I didn't. So that's the entire footage of the whole floating experiment. Well, I can tell you it floated and you're gonna have to trust me on that. Okay, so the bottom of the carburetor is assembled, and now I'm thinking about how to put fuel somehow into a bottle or something and just gravity feed it here. But as I was doing that, it also occurred to me that I don't have a key, and I came here and I looked and I cleaned this up a little bit, and it says auto synchron to the left, at the bottom it says off, and to the right it says spark. So I took a pair of pliers and I turned it. I believe this is the spark coil position. I have no idea what auto synchron means, but I think that's how it needs to be, so the car starts. So like I said, the only thing is now fuel, but maybe, now I'm thinking about it, maybe this here is for quicker start. You can just squirt a little bit of fuel here and then crank it. Do you think that's possible? I'm curious. So I'm gonna take a little bit of fuel in this bottle. I'm gonna put a little bit and we're gonna squirt a little bit inside here, and we're gonna crank it just to see if it is gonna show any signs of spark. Close it now. The throttle is a little bit open, and the advance and retard, this is fully retarded, but I watched multiple videos and they say that when you're hand cranking it, you should be somewhere here, 2-3 notches advanced, and that's it. If you go full advance, it might backfire and break your arms, so we don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna pull a little bit choke, and we're gonna do it with left hand. That's what they say, and the thumb cannot be on this side because that's how you break it. It needs to be on this side. Okay. I don't know if what we're doing is right here with this thing. What if we squirt a little bit directly into the cylinders? Yeah, you know, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn the other way the key. I put it on the auto synchron position. Okay, so I've been thinking here, and I'm not really sure if my key here is in the right position. And there's no way for me to check the spark while I'm cranking it. So I don't really know what's going on. So obviously I'm gonna have to get a 6-volt battery, plug it in and try with the starter and do it the proper way, but I just can't wait. I read on forums actually that some people use 12-volt batteries. I'm not doing that, I'm not even attempting, because other people say that 12 volts is gonna slam the Bendix and it's gonna bend it and it's gonna become a bigger problem, so I'm not gonna try that. But what it occurred to me is that if I somehow plug 6 volts here with my power supply, for example, I'm not gonna crank it because I know that my power supply is not gonna hold the load, but at least I'm gonna be able to turn the key and hear and listen for the coils, because if the ignition is on and the coils are under power, they're gonna start buzzing, and then I'm gonna be able to make sure that I have spark and crank it, etc, etc. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let me bring the power supply here and we're gonna check that. Okay, let's turn this down to 6 volts or maybe 6.5. What I also read is that the Model T is negative ground. There's no such thing as positive ground, which is good. So negative is this, the one that goes to the body. And positive is here. Nothing. Can't hear nothing from the coils. We have 6 volts here, absolutely no load. It would show me the load here. Alright, well, one of the coils should be buzzing right now, or maybe the crank is not in the correct position. Let's turn it a little bit and see, but at least one should be buzzing, I think. No? None of them. Oh, there you go. One is buzzing. Okay, let's test them all. So now another one is buzzing. There should be another one here. There you go. So they're all buzzing. That's the third one. And that's the fourth one. Okay. So they're all buzzing. Okay. So in this case, this means that we have ignition on right now through the battery. So we can try and crank it this way, and if the car eventually starts and we want to shut it off, we don't have enough fuel for that, but we cannot plug the power from here, or we can just turn this off, right? Okay, we have fire extinguishers and everything. So now we know for a fact that we have spark. I mean, the coils are buzzing, and we can talk some other time about the coils, how they work. I mean, I watched some videos and I figured it out. So, but not now. Now let's see if we can crank it again and maybe get it to start. So we have power and we have the coils buzzing. Let's crank it again. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more fuel in the cylinders. I just want to get it to like get a hiccup or something, just to show some signs of life. And then I'm gonna have to make something to hold the fuel. Now the firing order is not 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 3, 4, 2, but just the coils are arranged in this way that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But that doesn't mean that they fire in this order. Okay, try again. There's some signs of life. Okay. Here, she has a voice. Okay, so we're gonna need to deliver some fuel. I'm gonna turn it so it doesn't buzz. Okay. Good. This is a good sign. Okay. And you know what? I decided I'm gonna use an electric fuel pump just to fill up the system, fill the float bowl of the carburetor. I think it's gonna be more than enough to get it run for a short period of time. And we're gonna shut it off. We're not gonna keep the pump pumping. First of all, because I'm gonna need the power supply, but also because we don't have the coolant, right? We don't have any coolant in the car. Okay, we're gonna have to increase this to 13 volts, but we're gonna remember to turn it back down. Something like that. Let's see, where do we have ground here? So we're gonna... There you go. That was expected. Dripping blood on my life. Where is it dripping from? From my gaskets. Okay, so I didn't do a good job with the gaskets. But you know what? Now that the float bowl is full, it stopped dripping as soon as I turned off the pump. So maybe I was putting too much pressure. I'm just gonna connect the coils again, turn the power down, and let's see if we can start it this time for real with the gas that's in the float bowl. So back to 6 volts. Yeah, let's put some fuel in the cylinders again. Okay, that was with no choke. So maybe I should pull a little bit the choke. She's alive. She has a little bit of a gallop. Okay, and she ran out of gas, I guess. But finally some of the cylinders kicked in. She's alive. Okay, one more time. I'm gonna put a little bit more fuel in the carb. I wanna do it again. It's running on one or two. Come on, baby. The other ones should pick up now. Wow. She's running on one or two cylinders. Why are the other ones not picking up? They did. Okay, so what do you think, guys? Oh, she's alive. Well, this means that we can try and put coolant in it and run it for a longer time, but maybe we can do that in the next video. Whew. Okay. Oh my god, guys, this is crazy. Oh, I never cranked so much in my life. I remember in my childhood, a friend of mine used to have Warszawa, a Polish version of the Russian Победа. I don't know if you know these cars, probably not. But we were trying to start it with the crank when I was probably 10 or 12 years old. We never managed, but we tried. And I think that was the last time I actually used the crank on a car. Oh, aren't you happy? I am. Hold on. Missing one part. This part. Whew. I think this deserves a beer. Oh, whoever invented the beer is genius. Anyway, I'm super happy that she's actually alive. There's something super, I don't know, like sentimental, if you want to call it, when something that has been sitting for 51 years, since 1974. How do I know that it's been 51 years? Because I am 51 years old and I was born in 1974 when this car was parked and hung up there in the garage. And it's been sitting for 51 years. And now you just touch here and there, turn the crank a little bit, and she just comes back to life. Anyway, I think we're gonna put an end to this episode here. It's becoming way too long. I just wanted to make sure that she is alive. We're gonna leave the rest of it for another episode. So what we have to do is, I guess I'm gonna take the carburetor out so we can make the gasket seal properly. We're gonna have to clean the tank because it's full of gunk. It is full of black stuff at the bottom, so we're gonna have to clean it, hook it up properly, and fill it with gas. And we have to address the cooling system. We haven't filled it up at all, so we don't know if it is holding water or it's gonna be leaking, etc, etc. We're gonna buy a battery, most importantly, so we can hook it up and use the starter, because I'm done cranking. I'm too old for that. Anyway, that's gonna be everything for this episode. Once again, I wanna express my gratitude to John and Joanna for donating this to the Rusty Beauty's cause. If you wanna call it cause or whatever you wanna call it. But I'm really grateful. I wanna thank also David Tushingham, Mr. Chef Tash. Thanks for helping me to bring this home today. And I want to thank you guys for hanging around and wrenching with me on this 111 years old lady. And stay tuned for the next episode, in which we're gonna try to start her and keep her running and eventually drive her. We don't know if we have brakes, but that's another story. We're gonna get there. First, let's make her drive, and then we're gonna figure out how to stop. So that's everything for today, guys. I'm gonna go and finish my beer. Stay tuned for more episodes, and I'll see you then, I guess. Cheers. Oh, you're still here. Me too, me too. That's what I do at the end of the day. I just sit and watch what I've done today. And I'm happy. I'm gonna sleep well. Bye.